graphic up. All right. My company's called any company, and let them know. And anyways, let's see. Come on. And my app says that I'm streaming. Huh. All right, hold on. I'm gonna stop for a minute. All right. It's saying the stream is healthy. Let's see how this works. All right, hold on. I'm gonna stop for a minute. All right, my apologies. Turn that down. All right. I'm gonna wait for a minute because it seems like I was having some internet issues. I'm gonna keep my eye on it, and if I'm not seeing things happen on the screen, I'm gonna peek over at my computer over there and see if I've got any warnings. But it says I've got good enough internet, so we'll see how it goes. Anyways, my apologies for not being here for a couple days. Crazy busy at work. I'm gonna try to be here twice today. We'll see how it goes. I've got, I don't think it heard me before. I've got great news. The company that sold me these streaming cameras, they're sending me 3 brand new cameras for free. The company's called Nearstream, and they have the best customer service I've ever seen. We'll see if these new 3 cameras that I'm getting later on today will work out or not. So either they've got great customer service and a really bad product, or they've got great customer service and a really great product that just needed to be refreshed. So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, we're going to keep going here. I don't have a lot of time this morning. I've got to keep my eye on the clock. I've got about a half an hour. If you are here with me, great, thank you. We're going to continue with, I'll zoom in here. We're going to continue with our glass and reflective object. And again, I know your view of this is slightly different than mine. Move this up so I can see it a little bit better. So I'm looking at it a little bit off to the right while you were looking at it to the left slightly. And good morning, Diablo Girl. Nice to meet you. My name's Jason, and this is the first time I've seen you on this channel, so welcome. We're painting silver and glass today. Well, not painting, we're drawing right now, and this is where I'm at right now. So I'm drawing this on a piece of tracing paper at the moment, and then we're going to transfer the drawing to a canvas. So I'm going to try to finish this up today. If you're just here to watch, great. I'd love to have people just kind of hang out and yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Love having people hang out. Usually I have another friend who comes almost every day, and I'm happy when I see new people come in, so that's great. So as far as this drawing, I'm almost done. There's a couple of things in the top area of the shaker up there that I feel need to be fixed, maybe are uneven, and I've got to add these long ovals here and maybe clean the glass up just a little bit to get a little more detail in there, because I'm not quite there yet. Hopefully my head stays out of the camera. So I'm gonna I've got this little, it's a little ruler. I use it, sometimes I build things, and this is really great. This is a guitar building tool that I like, but it's a great little ruler to help me kind of gauge things. Let me move this up just a little bit so you can see it better. All right. I'll try to keep my head out of the shot. So, first thing I want to do is I want to look at that glass, and I'm going to kind of see where along the glass I'm going to use my pencil, and I'm going to kind of gauge with my pencil, use my pencil as a ruler to see where each of those pieces are. I'll count them up, and then I'll draw them on here. So if I'm looking on here, that there's one that's closest to me, that's like right in the center here, and I want to kind of gauge where the top of it is and the bottom of it is, and then I'll do the same thing with all the others, and then I'll just kind of connect them. So I feel like this one is off center. I feel like the right side of it is almost center, right? And there's this ridge here, and I'm looking at it right around there. I can measure it, actually. I might do that real quick and just kind of give myself a quick measurement of what that looks like. Not close enough really, but it's about a ½ an inch. Let's see. Well, oh, this was a pain. Hi, welcome back. This was a pain. We have a new guest today, a new watcher. So feel free to introduce yourselves. I'm just getting into art in my 30s, so I'm soaking up all. Oh, that's awesome. I've been into art my entire life. So a little about me. I live in the United States, East Coast, not too far from New York City, and I gotta measure that bottom one too. I've been to school for art. I have a bachelor's in studio art, and I have a master's in design, graphic design. So hopefully I'm qualified to teach you. I taught high school art for about 8 years. So I see the bottom as being here and the top as being here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of I'm going to make a reference line that goes around the whole thing. So it's an oval, kind of like the top is here. Then I'm going to go around here and around down here, so that I've got a reference to line up to. So if it looks natural, I'll know that I'm lining up to the right thing. So I'm just going to very carefully sketch that in. So I've done a lot of different things in the art world. Right now I'm a graphic designer for a large company. So this is something I do as a recent hobby, actually. Getting into streaming is what I'm talking about. So I find that if I have a potential audience, and I say potential because not every day somebody shows up. Sometimes I'm sitting here talking to myself. But somebody might show up. And that potential for someone to show up gives me a little motivation, I found. So while I'm calling this art class right now, I don't know if it's so much art class or more of a Jason's motivation class. You take it what you want to. Take it how you want to. So, been drawing every day for the last 3 weeks. Excellent. Cats and people. Awesome. I am actually thinking, I have a friend who I promised a painting to years ago. So there was a time when I was doing portraits for weddings. So friends of mine were getting married, and I wanted to give them a gift that was special. And this one friend, he's actually my oldest friend. I promised a painting to, and I never kind of got around to it, and I never really had a good subject. I think I'm going to, I had an idea years ago, and I think I'm just going to do it and see how it turns out. So I will do some portraiture maybe next. I've also got another painting that I want to get to. And I want to do some like simple lessons. I call this simple lessons. This is not a simple lesson. This is a very difficult lesson. So we've got our reference lines here, our top and our bottom. That looks okay. I might clean things up a little bit. And now all I need to do is kind of say where along this reference are the tops of each of those spikes, just to give you another reference to what I'm looking at here. Each of those little things. And so I think this one's right around here, and let me measure that again. So I'm trying to see whether or not that, yeah, it looks straight up and down on both sides. So this one is pretty much straight up and down right here. And it's about that wide. I'm just roughly sketching it in. Diablo Girl, if I would love for you, if you have any artwork that you want to share, I would happily post it, repost it. If you want to share it with me here in the community, or you're welcome to share something with me, I have an Instagram page, which is art.class23, art.class23, and love to see what people are working on. So this is the hard part about this, is getting these kind of evenly spaced when they're not actually evenly spaced, because as they go around as they go around this cylindrical object here, distance changes, right? Angles change. So the height of each one of these changes slightly, the angle of them change slightly. So I'm just kind of getting it roughed in. Straight, slight angle, steeper angle. And then over here on this side, and I might have to move these a little bit. That's why I'm not drawing them too, let's see, there's one here, one here. This one's like way over here. So the even spacing is what's gonna kick my butt here. Let's see. I like that there and there. I'm thinking they might need to be wider. This one needs to be over here slightly. So often I just sit here and draw and talk and look down every now and then, see if anybody else has anything to say. You're welcome to chime in and tell me I'm doing something wrong. I'll tell you you're crazy, but I'll listen. Alright, so I've got to look at the spaces that each one of these things is, but I also have to look at the space between each of them too, right? So if I look at the space between, my eyes seem to be correcting themselves a little bit. So I like this one here. This one needs to be like over here. And this one, yeah, much wider than I originally thought. Proportions of things is something that's difficult to teach, because you really have to, it's really just using your eyes and figuring out what you're really seeing. So you have to look at the objects that you're drawing and the spaces in between the objects that you're drawing. So that is a huge task for someone who draws things like people and animals, right? Because if you don't get a proportion right on a person, it's kind of funny, because the human face, you know, it's the most recognizable thing for people. So when you get a human face wrong, people know it. Yeah, negative space, exactly. Negative space. Always got to look at the negative space. See, I'm looking at the negative space on these, and I'm like, I keep kind of nudging things over to the right. I feel like these here need to move over slightly. But that's why I drew in my reference line here, because I can, at least I've got a constant that I'm working with, something that doesn't change. Yeah. So I'm thinking this one in the middle goes much further left. I've got this line here that I should probably just get rid of, because that's gonna, well, I'm gonna leave it there because it's gonna mess me up more. All right, so this one needs to move over further. Negative space again, so I'm looking at the space between this one and this one here, and then this one and this one here. So both sides, right? So if I want this negative space to be here, that means it's about that wide, and that this one is either too wide or needs to move over slightly. I'm almost there. Almost there. So the negative space is here and here. And I move this over just a little bit to make those spaces equal. It should be about where I need it to be. And then I'll come in with my little ruler here and I'll make it nice and straight. Hopefully it'll look alright. Yeah, that's much better there. This one, take a look at that before I... Alright, that looks pretty decent. This might be even thinner here. Yeah. So I have, let's see. Yep, seeing negative space around the subject, absolutely. Good, excellent thing to practice. I haven't really talked about negative space too much yet in my lessons. So I'll take my ruler, my little baby ruler here, and I'll just kind of straighten up those lines. And let's see how those look once I straighten them up and draw them in nice. So correct me if I'm wrong. This was a pain. You are from Romania, if I'm not incorrect. And Diablo Girl, where do you reside? Are you in the United States or elsewhere? I'd love to know where I'm reaching out to. Not too long ago, I had a young boy from Mexico, I think. Yeah, Romania. Quebec, Canada, nice. I see Quebec license plates all the time. I've never really visited Quebec, though I've technically been in Quebec. As funny as that sounds. Excuse me, not Quebec, Canada. I've technically been in Canada, so there's an area, it might be near Quebec, I honestly don't know, but there's an area in upstate New York called the Thousand Islands, and it's basically a river that leads to the Great Lakes. And oh, that's right, Indian, not Mexico. He was from India. You're right. I was mixing up the two. Thousand Islands is basically a river and a canal system that leads from the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes in the United States and Canada. And so I took a ferry ride through the down the Thousand Islands River. It was a very beautiful whole area. And by going on that ride, there were points during the ride that I crossed into Canada. I can drive to Canada in about 5 hours, and I've never actually been to Canada. Talked about it many times. Never. Well, no, I'll take that back. I've flown into Canada too. So I've been to, was it YYZ, Toronto, and I think one other airport. It might just be YYZ. All right, this is coming together nicely, right? These look fairly even across. And I can make corrections as I go. I'm trying to make this fairly accurate, but at the same time, I don't want to measure every single little thing. Not in this painting anyways. So, for anyone's information, I try to come online at least once a day. I don't always make it. My day job gets in the way. But it's good to have a day job, right? Which is why I will have to go in about 10 minutes or so. All right, so that looks pretty good on this side. I might make some corrections. They might need to come down a little further. I'm look at the reference here, and go back. So I'm gonna leave it for now, and I'll fix it later. So now we've got the back side of this, and I don't know if it's as important, but I want to look at especially on the top. These shapes continue around the backside, and I can see through the glass to see them slightly. I'm just going to give myself some reference here. So I see one here. I'm not going to draw these in as accurately since I'm looking through the glass at them. They could be a little more fudged. And then there's one here that kind of rides right next to this guy. And this ridge here distorts it. So drawing glass and reflections, it's less about drawing the object, more about drawing the shapes that you see. Because there's a lot of weird shapes in glass and metal. People get caught up in, you know, trying to find the colors to paint and paint the colors that you see and paint the shapes that you see. It's all right. And there's one here that is kind of fun because this one goes up like this, and it's like a double image. So I see it stops here and goes back down, following this one here. And then it repeats again up here. So there's I want to make sure I get that one in there. And actually this one over here repeats again too, except it's at a weird angle. So this one goes like that. And then there's another shape that's like right there. All right, good, it's coming together. There's another one here. Sometimes I gotta close one eye because I gotta pick which eye. These shapes move a little bit left to right when I'm drawing, so I gotta pick an eye to draw out of. So I don't know if you heard when I first opened the chat, I am getting new cameras today. These cameras have been glitching out on me, and so far they haven't glitched out today. But I'm also not playing music today, which I normally do, which could potentially, but the company that sells these cameras is sending me 3 brand new cameras for free because of the problems I've been having. So the company's called Nearstream. If you are ever interested in streaming, highly recommend them. I bought them on a guess. I saw somebody say they had excellent customer service, and they absolutely do. I was amazed. All right, now the only thing that I want to make sure I get in is the liquid here is around there. Oh, my pencil's being weird. Yeah, new tech. I've only had them for a month. I've only been streaming for a month or so. Very, very little amount of time, and I've been having such a good time with it. It's getting me to draw regularly and paint regularly, which I should be doing. Someone told me years ago, if I had the talent that you do, I'd be drawing and painting every day. And I've always looked at drawing and painting as a blessing and a curse. You know, because I really enjoy when I do something that I impress myself with, you know. I really enjoy when I look at something and I'm like, wow, that really came out. That's something special. But for me, and I don't know if this is the same for other artists, for me, drawing and painting can sometimes be very challenging on my brain. because I want it to be perfect. I really want things to be perfect. And then down here, there's like this. There's you know, the glass, the glow in the glass is kind of interesting. So again, my view and your view will be slightly different. So I will try to take a picture later, and so that I've got something more accurate to show you what I see. I see this lake. All right, I think that's the glass. Let me get rid of this. Let me just kind of. So what's going to happen, and I don't know if I'm going to do this today or not. I might want to just kind of fudge around with some of the shapes in the metal here. But what's going to happen is I'm going to get I don't know if it'll be another piece of paper, or if I'm going to do it on the back of this, but I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm going to completely cover it as much as I need to with graphite. So I'm going to draw all over it with dark graphite. So here's my pencil set here. So if you don't have a nice pencil set, or if you don't know about pencils, I feel like graphite pencils are pretty easy to buy. You just want a variety from the hardest, 9H, 9B. 9H is the hardest, 9B is the softest, and have a variety of pencils in between so that you can get light and dark shades pretty well. But so with the 9B, I will completely cover most of a piece of paper, another piece of tracing paper, and I will lay that against the canvas, and then I will lay this on top of the canvas, and then I will trace my lines. And that graphite paper or transfer paper will leave the impressions that I want on the canvas without any of the reference lines that I've got drawn in here. It'll only record what I draw on it. So transfer paper or graphite paper is a really cool way to get something transferred. I prefer to draw on paper. Yeah. You're funny. Every time I draw and paint, I have a mental breakdown. Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel sometimes. You know, it's so here I see the reflection of the glass in the metal here. So I want to make sure that that's in there. That's pretty clear. It's a weird kind of oval shape, but it's because it's bending around the metal. Yeah. And then there's like a straight line here. I think this is actually the edge of the box that I've got everything in. So another thing too for Diablo Girl, when I'm painting still life, I like to set things up in a box with a single light source. So I've got a light source at the top there. That's what you see up there. And I know there's lights in the room, but you know, without it, you can see, you know, you lose quite a lot of light in there, right? It's pretty dark, but with it, you get a little bit of shadow, a little bit more tone in the colors. So I like to do that. This seems a little bit off here. All right, I've actually got to stop because this is a good point to stop. I'm starting to get into other things here, but let me back this up again. Oh. So here's where I'm at, and all right. So that's where I'm going to stop today, at least for this morning. I'm going to try to come again at my lunchtime. Right now it's almost 8:30. It's 8:20 or so. So I'll try to be back again today. As always, this stuff will be posted on my YouTube channel. So love for people to subscribe, share, tell my story a little bit. That'd be great. But my motivation is to share my work with you, and hopefully you learn something from it and can take it to the work that you do. So thank you so much for my friends to join today. It was great to meet you, Diablo Girl. And this was a pain as always. Thank you so much for joining. So happy drawing, happy painting, and have a great day. I hope I see you later on. Bye.